Friday, November 11th, 2016. Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. I'd like to talk about the gold to silver ratio this morning. And just to try to see what's going on in the precious metals. Gold did very well early on when the results started coming out for the US election, and then it was seen that Trump was going to win. Gold traded up more than $60 to around 1,337, and now we're like way lower. We're like, $80 lower almost. We're at around 1256. Silver, nevertheless, has held very well. We got up above 19, and we're now around 1860. So very strange action. I don't know what's changed. In the stock market also, there's some anomalies in the stock market and very strange market action as well. I personally think, I did a video yesterday asking the question whether a backroom deal was done. I'm not sure. I'm not really convinced about that. Some people are saying that one of Trump's friends, Carl Icahn, put an order to buy $1 billion worth of futures. I don't think that's true. What changed? When the market knew that Trump was going to win, why was it down 800? Why is it now, up? Making new all-time highs, from 17,500. Why we're now at almost 19,000? It doesn't make sense. What has changed? People knew the policies of Trump. So if anything, it smells a bit fishy, intervention. One of my viewers said, well, maybe probably Obama doesn't want to leave a bad legacy. He wants to, make sure the stock market at all-time highs when he leaves office. So could be that. It's very blatant. Aside from the ratio, gold-silver ratio, I'm going to talk about some other anomalies. How the Dow is making new all-time highs, but the S&P isn't, and like the Nasdaq actually is dropping. So let's have a look at the gold-silver ratio anyway. Here's a chart, a weekly chart, and you can see that this year the gold-silver ratio has been generally, since it did rise a little bit beginning of the year, but ever since then it's been dropping. And right now it looks like, as you can see, we are dropping the last few days since the election, or in the last week, and we are at around 67.50. So breaking that little flag there, it looks like we're going to go lower. So that means silver is outperforming gold. And generally, when that happens, it's a good sign for precious metals. And that's what I wanted to talk about. The fact that the gold-silver ratio is dropping and silver is outperforming is usually a good thing for precious metals. And I'm going to bring up another chart here of the gold-silver ratio. And this is more of a longer term chart, and you can see there that there's that trend line as well. We've clearly broken that, and that the gold silver ratio going up, from around 30 to above 80. That from 2011 to beginning of 2016. That was basically the times since when gold was correcting. When we've had this big correction from 1900 to 1045. So generally, when precious metals are going down, that ratio goes up. So the fact that we're now broken through that line, and it looks like we're gonna keep going down here technically, that should be positive for precious metals. But still, the action has been a bit disappointing. There's talk that there's going to be inflation, that Trump is going to reflate the economy, and that the stock market is going to do well because business is going to come back. But the last time there was inflation like that, and yields, for treasuries are going up in the 70s. The stock market didn't do very well in the 70s, late 60s to the 70s. It was a bear market. So this kind of reasoning doesn't make sense to me either. And the anomalies that I was talking about, yeah, is the fact that the Dow is making new all-time highs, but the S&P's failed to do it. S&P is at 2168. The high is around 2200 really earlier this year. The Nasdaq yesterday dropped, so there's no confirmation there. And it's the same thing with gold and silver. Silver's held up really well, and yesterday evening when gold reopened around 6 p.m. New York, we got up to 1265. But now again with Europe coming in, and as I speak is about 8:25 a.m. London, so 3:25 New York. The European central banks have come in as well, probably, and sold gold off, down to 1256 here. So I just saw it a few minutes ago. They just smacked it down. So yeah, I think that the gold to silver ratio is showing that if anything, the precious metals are still, positive. And this anomaly that we've seen since, the election result is quite weird. The Dow was down 800 points, and then, and then it just started going up for no reason whatsoever. And we've heard from the mainstream media, people like CNBC, Bloomberg, they're giving the excuse that now, Trump is going to reflate the economy and is great for the economy. And yields are going up as well. The 10-year yield is now 215, which is, we got down to 173 just when, the results were coming out, and it was sure that Trump was going to win. So where did it change that we went from 173 now to 215? Confusion, in my opinion. And if yields are going up that quickly, like they, if we're in a bear market in bonds, I'm sorry, that's not bearish for precious metals. Look at the 70s. We had a bear market in bonds. What did gold do? It went from $35 to almost $900. So that's what I wanted to talk about. These strange anomalies. I don't want to try to really, it's difficult to say what's going on. But if anything, I would say there definitely must be some intervention by the Obama administration to make, he doesn't want to leave on a bad note. He wants, to basically goose up the stock market. And, but it's strange because these people, the biggest losers, I think, of this election are the mainstream media and, the Washington establishment. And the mainstream media, financial mainstream media as well, they've been rigging and telling, fibs about the economy and the markets for too long. And why do I say that? Well, there's people like Bill Murphy from GATA, Gold Antitrust Action Committee. They've been, for over 15 years trying to expose the manipulation of precious metals. I think he went on CNBC once in the U.S., and then they never had him back. He's been back on CNBC, but in Asia when, people are not watching, in the States. And it's the same thing. I used to speak to someone from Bloomberg News in London when I was in the markets. I used to tell him, did you see how gold was smashed down today? I think it was the central banks. And he said, and the person used to say, oh, no, we don't talk about that. So yeah, they're just, it's a last hooray, I think, for the manipulators and the mainstream media. And they are probably the biggest loser in this election, but they're still trying to come out with silly stories to justify, you know, market intervention. So yeah, that's what I think. You know, the gold-silver ratio is actually showing that the precious metals are still in good shape. You know, yesterday gold was smacked down quite a bit. Silver actually went up. I know the mining shares didn't do well, but I'm still positive about those. And yeah, that's it for now. So if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, share it, and if you haven't subscribed yet to my channel, please do. If you'd like to donate, if you think I add value, there's some links below in the description. Thanks. Bye.